will be heard, building a legacy with every word. From podcasts to pages, from business to art, Level Up's the place where it all can start. With heart and with vision, we're chasing every goal. Together we'll ignite the fire in your soul. Level up, reach the sky, take the lead, don't be shy. Your story's worth it, your light will shine. At Level Up Academy, it's your time. Oh, it's your time. At Level Up Academy, we rise and climb. Oh, we're trailblazing, breaking through the mold. Dreams are alive, let your story unfold. With courage and pride, we'll take the fight. At Level Up, we own the night. Level Up, reach the sky, take the lead, don't be shy. Your story's worth it, your light will shine. At Level Up Academy, it's your time. Oh, it's your time. At Level Up Academy, we rise and climb. So let's level up and never look back. On the road to greatness, we're on the right track. Together we'll soar, together we'll thrive. At Level Up Academy, we're alive.
Whoa, how are you all doing? Welcome. So this is what I have. So let's go ahead and talk about what will outlive you. Okay, I know it sounds morbid, got it. But life is full of surprises and mysteries, and we're all hustling and bustling and trying this and trying that because of money. Money is literally the root of anything that you want to move, freedom, want to do whatnot, because that's a currency that we have is money. But money will outlive you too, right? Money comes in and it goes out, guys. It flows, okay? Just like you can't control people, you can't really, I wouldn't say you can't really control money has to go out, but you can control how it goes out and how it flows. So, another thing you cannot go anywhere is you are guaranteed to get sick. Guaranteed. And I use the word guaranteed, and I usually don't use that word guaranteed. You're also guaranteed to expire, right? We all are. That's where we're heading in a conveyor belt of life. It's a matter of what things that you're going to do within your life. But ask yourself, let's pause and sit with that question for just a moment. What will outlive you? Not in terms of wealth or possessions, but really in terms of memory, meaning, and impact. The truth is, each of us is writing a story. Whether we're aware of it or not, we're living in our own story. Every conversation, every decision, every quiet act of kindness is a line in the legacy we're leaving behind. What we never really know because we're all unpublished in some ways or another. We often think of legacy as something grand reserved for the famous or the historically significant. But the most enduring legacies are not always written in history books. They're etched into our hearts and our mind. They live in the stories our children tell, our children's children. They echo in the values we pass on, the wisdom we share, and the gratitude we model. And here's the truth: if we don't intentionally shape our legacy, we risk leaving one that is incomplete or worse, forgotten. Do you remember your great great grandparents? Heck, I don't even remember my great grandparents on my mom's side. Never met them. I don't know anything about them other than the stories told by their kids and their kids' kids, who happens to be my mom. That's why writing down a portion of your life story, even a small one, matters. When you pause to reflect on where you've become, or where you come from, and what you've done, and what you've learned, and what you hope to pass on, you're not just documenting memories, you're distilling meaning. You're saying, this is what mattered. This is what I want to be remembered. And even more powerful than that is the act of choosing gratitude. When we write or speak from a place of gratitude, we don't just recount events, we highlight the gifts in them. We elevate perspective. We show others how to find strength, beauty, and purpose, even in our struggle. Gratitude is a legacy multiplier, guys. It turns ordinary experiences into stories of hope. It transforms pain into power. It creates ripple effects because a grateful life inspires grateful living in others. So today, I invite you, just 10 minutes a day, or even just today, ask yourself, journal, what am I grateful for that I haven't spoken aloud? What story could I share that would help someone else feel less alone? What part of my life, when written or remembered, could remind others what really matters? Remember, legacy doesn't have to be overwhelming, it just has to be intentional. And it begins with a single decision to reflect, to write, and to give thanks for the journey you've lived so far. Because someone someday will need your story. I know I'm a poet and didn't know it. I'm just laughing at myself here, guys. I'm going cray cray. Okay, so we have finished our academic publishing. Yesterday, our conference is done. Poof. And I'm hoping that I can get all of these. My brothers and sisters, there's six of us actually trying to go for English, German, French, Spanish, Italian, and Portuguese books. So you can actually read the details of our passion backed by research. I bet you haven't seen an anthology like that before. For all of those people that are like, I do anthologies, ask them if they do academic publishing anthology. I know the answer already, right? Because it's a unique proposition. Imagine having your passion in universities. That's amazing. But if you ask my brothers and sisters, it's not for the faint of heart. It's not for the faint of heart. And this is why I only do it once or every 3 years. This Friday, I am going to always be 10 a.m. PST on influencing you. I always teach. Right now, we're doing mindset and social media, and that's what I've been teaching. So I am there whenever you need it. So as far as magazines, we have another magazine, okay, coming up in June, the same time that our books. Actually, this one's later June. It's called We Lead, We Rise, and We Continue. This is also a legacy maker. It is both physical and also online. So let me know if ever you need to be amplified in our magazine. And for those of you who attended, your certificate is coming today, along with an announcement email really on who won the Rise Up magazine or Level Up Circle magazine. We rise, we lead, and we continue for the June coverage because I'm giving away a portion of that page to somebody else. Okay. But let's talk about this, and I'm gonna bring in my sister right now. Are you guys ready? Ta-da! How are you doing?
I'm doing good for a Wednesday morning.
Right? I was going off on my thoughts about reflecting on why it's important to write a portion of your life because there were so many things about my grandmother's life that explained why she was the way she was, and I was
Mhm.
always missing that part, and now I know why, right? But I would have loved to know about that when she was alive rather than now that she's not.
You'd rather hear it from her.
Yeah, yeah, but it didn't happen. So I think my great grandchildren can read portions of my life. It's already out there. You know, this is crazy. I'm actually going to get a um it's rainy right now, but I'm gonna do a photo shoot on all of my magazines and all of our books so far because I just can't believe that in a year and a half to 2 years, we have produced this much books, right?
Hmm.
This much books, guys. Like, that's crazy. I know you can't see it because of my thing, but like, that is crazy. We have this much book. So I'm going to be doing a photo shoot on this one. Um, because it's amazing that what we've gone through, and even if we stop today and what we're doing, we already have done it. It's in the past, it's part of our journey, it's our past, right? And a
Exactly.
portion of that is already there, out there, and people already can read it. So I'm really like thankful for that. Now let's talk about our anthology, because our anthology is actually closing the opportunity this Friday. I wanted to ask you, what is different about this anthology theme?
It's, I mean, the theme itself is with gratitude. It's really looking back at your life for those moments that you were grateful and how it changed your life. Uh, and then every one of these books has been unique, both in how we put it together, where we came up with the topic, and this one turned into a chicken and the egg conversation because I came up with the theme or with a theme, and then after I told you the why, you turn around and flip the script on me, and then we just kind of went back and forth about grateful. But it's finding that moment, and we all have them, where being grateful, having that gratefulness towards somebody or something that happened, it created a change in our life.
He did. And I think being grateful, like intentional gratefulness, looking for something that you're grateful, is a better way to live, because every day your brain is going to need to be filled, right? And our
Mhm.
brain is filled with negativity, pessimism, comparisons. Like, literally, we thrive on negativity for some reason. But imagine if you actually are intentional on putting something in your brain that's gratefulness. You actually will attract more positive people. You attract more positivity in your life, right? Even though you're going through so much hardship, all at once. Sometimes it just when it rains, it pours. Um, but having still a grateful heart, like, I've learned so much from my grandmother through my uncle's stories during the memoriam service, basically saying, even though she went through so much, she still turns to God, um, and had a grateful heart, right? And she suffered throughout maybe the last 3 years of her life right now, because she had dementia and she had a bad surgery results. She, fell and broke her hip, and she was bedridden and just couldn't do anything anymore. And my uncle was asking, if God was so nice, why didn't he just take you? Why make you suffer? And he cried and realized that he's grateful because God wanted him and used my grandma to give him a lesson, right, on how powerful God's love for us if you just look at it. But we choose to blame, we choose to be negative, we choose to hate. And so it's kind of hard not to sometimes with certain people, right? But at the same time, that's not really what really God wants. He wants your heart to be released from pain. But we like to control things because we're people. And then we all become an only child, even though we're not an only child. Mine, 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 mine. Um, that's really the root of all some of the issues that we're having in this world. Is it's mine, it's my country, it's my people, it's my this, right? And then it goes to you individually. Well, it's my mirror, or it's my book. And what are some of your thoughts on that, sister?
Yeah, there's too much of that in the world right now of just people being negative and I think part of it, the problem is a lot of them, they don't see themselves as being negative.
Mm.
So to them, it's just they're doing they think they're the most positive people and they're focused and they don't see what they're doing to others. Uh, and if you could just step back and part of it is see what you're doing, but then find the moments in there to truly be grateful, to to really look at your life from a lens of gratitude and see where the pluses are, where those moments are of something amazing happened and start putting those pieces together. Try and let go of the negativity.
It's kind of hard to let go of negativity when all of your head is all about negativity,
I
right?
know, and the
I know.
news, everything else.
Yeah. It's life. It's like you're going through it and it's really difficult to unplug yourself and there's just so much noise like you're overwhelmed. And when people are talking the same thing or doing the same thing, you want to unplug more. And I think also I realized that even though you're a positive person, you're positive in your community, but you're negative to someone, like specifically one person or two people, it's because your interaction with these people are nothing but negative, right?
Mhm.
Um, there's nothing worse to me than a person who's a flip flopper. And what I used to think that when I helped someone and they turned on me, I always think like, okay, definitely something wrong with me. Like, why do they do that? And my pastor always told me, like, it's not you that you were needed at the moment, but they'll
Right.
figure it out on their way. And the punishment doesn't come from me, it comes from the man above. So if you're unkind to people who are kind to you, you're going to suffer more, right? It's because that's just how it is. It's God created good and bad, light and day. Um, and that's just how the balancing is. But I think it's important to really think about whether you're publishing it yourself or you're publishing it with us on being grateful, right? Because gratefulness is everything. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
It is, and it does get to be interesting to see how there are those who it's almost like they use the opportunity for themselves. You don't really see the gratitude,
Mm,
and it can feel like there's gratitude, but then as they go, as the project goes,
interesting. How
or the
there are
next
those who
it's almost like it's when you look at how some of that happens, you you can't help but realize that it's really not anything that you did, that that you were being used in so many ways to attain something, and all you can do at that point and then is hope that they reached it because if they if you don't have the gratitude, then it comes to forgiveness. It's like you just forgive them and move on.
yeah, forgiveness is also something that's easy said but not
Oh, I know.
easily done. Right,
I know.
especially if someone wrong you so much that you've suffered mentally with so much anguish, you're like, I don't know. But I think it's better to just let it go than keep it in because if you keep it in, it poisons your body and your mind and you're always intentionally negative. Like, what is this person doing, right? What are they saying? Who are they talking about? I don't care about those things anymore. I'm resolute like, hey, if you're negative on me, I don't really care at this point. It doesn't matter to me.
Mhm.
You can keep going to whatever you want to do and whatever you want to say. Just if it makes you happy, do it. Um, but at the same time, writing a portion of what you're grateful for fills up your brain with more gratefulness. We like to complain about everything in life, but like we have two hands and two legs, right? And this weekend, Saturday, um, it's been probably 6 months that I had a really bad migraine attack, and I ended up staying next to my mom's hotel room, really, because she's like, "You're gonna have to stay because you're so sick." Like, I before I went to the funeral, I don't know if it was stress or anticipation or a combination of everything, but like my daughters hasn't seen me do that in a long time, and Bella was like trying to clean me up. It was so cute. And but I was not it. Like, I was really, and it was so amazing when my uncle was talking about my grandmother and how she loves God. Literally the rain started pouring so loud at church. And then as soon as he showed the video too of how grateful we are as being part of her life, the sun came up and the rain stopped and the rainbow came out. I'm like, what is happening? You know what I mean? Um, that was pretty significant, right? That was pretty significant on that. Now, we've written quite a bit of books, really, and magazines now, for me. So, what makes this theme different, sister, from all of our anthologies? We've been having like what, 6 of them already?
This is number 6.
Yeah.
Uh, the first 4, they really kind of built on each other. They because we've even played with the titles, the themes. It's like they all belong together. Then we put the last one, which we kept saying there's no theme, but the theme was no theme. So it was a wide open topic, and that's what we got. We got a wide variety of stories. This one this one is looking at this one's looking at a feeling, really, whereas none of the others did. And move beyond boundaries, thriving in life's gray zone. That's that's how you're thriving. Move beyond boxes, a journey to self-discovery, finding yourself, rebel with a cause. Um, against the grain, finding belonging in a world of resistance. This is all finding stuff, finding aspects of your life and what was going on. But this one, gratitude is really an emotion. It's something that you look at that moment in time and realize that that emotion, that ability to be grateful made such a difference in life for whatever reason. And then looking at why, what was it that really made the impact in that moment? So I kind of see one of the differences being that right there is it's more emotion based. It's an act, but it feels like it has more emotion to it than anything else that we've written.
Why do you think that is? Is it because it was that I'm actually curious because sometimes we don't really think about our process or how we're doing it until that time that we have to. I actually already thought about my the next anthology after this. It's already on my website actually because I will forget. And I thought it was really cool to see that most people will see where you come from, how you grew up, and judge you, right, from where you're at. And then most people will see the outcome of that journey. But no one really talks about the liminal space, the in between, the current journey, right? No one wants to talk about it because it's messy. It's a hot mess, really. And that's what I wanted to talk about. So I was trying to like sit here and said, okay, I'm grateful for Susanna and Danielle and Mike and Shanda and Miguel and Charlie and everybody who's here, who's consistently supporting. But at the same time, it's like, what else am I grateful for? right? And you keep looking, and I'm thinking, okay, well, the journey of getting there, no one ever sees, and no one ever wants to talk about. Why not? Right? So there's so many things you can take the gratefulness into a lot of spaces. But what makes this unique, you're right, is more emotion, because gratefulness, like none of our thing is, I mean, everything is about emotion, but it was more of an external, right?
Right.
Like beyond boundaries, external, moving beyond boxes, external, rebel with a cause, external, and against the grain, external. Now we're doing internalizing. But it's kind of interesting how we reset the whole thing and set the whole year by having a no theme and said, okay, scratch it, reverse it, and just do whatever you want. Um, it broke my brain because I like structure, but B, it actually turned out better than I thought it would, to be honest, of not having a theme, just having people do their, and I got to see what they want to talk about in their life rather than having a theme, right? So they got a chance to kind of spread what they wanted to do. The other thing is I love that we reset, and then now you're like, okay, gratefulness, and now you got to come up with yours ahead now too, because I already have mine in liminal spaces, and we don't even connect it until at the end, which is kind of amazing, right? We can always connect to a lot of things, but I think gratefulness can only go deeper on your life and count your blessings. I feel like we're doing counting our blessings. What do you think?
I I think you've got that right, because I know that was the topic for Sunday too, was counting your blessings. And anytime you look back, um, you really want to look. You want to look at the past through a lens of gratitude and forgiveness. So it really an emotion, instead of letting the past dictate, instead of being stuck in the past, looking at all the negative stuff, which just drags you down. You can't go anywhere because you get sucked into it. When you can look back and look at it with gratitude, look at it with eyes that start seeing the blessings amidst the chaos, and they don't have to be big, but they can, even the small ones can make a huge impact. So I see it as look back and have those positive, find the positive moments, find the reasons to be grateful, because everything in the past is what got you here. Try and focus more on the positive versus the negative, and watch how that changes your present. When you can let go of the pains, and that doesn't mean you forget them, but if you can let go of the pains of the past, and I know what this one is like very well, then it makes the present a whole lot easier, and you're not at so much of a risk that the past becomes the future. Find the positives and let that guide you to the future.
I love that. I also wanting to share with you guys, like when I do journaling, especially right now, I started journaling about my gratitude list, like a shopping list or a to-do list, especially with people who have ADHD. We're often highly attuned to sensory experiences because that's why we're mostly kinesthetic learner. Like we learn. That's another theory that I have. I wonder if all ADHD people are kinesthetic learners, because we like to see it and then learn from it quickly, right? You could say it until you're blue in the face. You could be the most like exceptional, right, teacher to teach me, but if you're just going to talk and me not doing it, I'm not going to learn it and stick to my brain, right? And so what I do is I with ADHD, I feel like we have to be attuned to our sensory, and I leverage the listing thing with my gratitude. I don't know if you have that. Like for example, instead of blank pages by targeted or simple prompts, I'd be like, okay, today one thing that made me smile was a bird outside. Actually, a squirrel this morning. I saw a squirrel and I thought, I wonder if I could see those TikTok people that have a best friend with squirrel, but I have to like race one from really tiny baby squirrel so it doesn't get scared of me. So that was my thought when I was trying to get out of my house because I saw a squirrel. And then I was like, okay, I'm proud of myself for what am I proud of myself for? Like I'm trying to be intentional as much as I can. And it says a person who shaped me and what I thank them for is, thinking about those to-do lists, like, and also the texture. um Three smells that ground you: coffee, tea, and food like bacon. Oh my, if you give bacon my attention, just deficit on everything else but the bacon. Like that's for sure. I hyper focus on that food. But voice notes and journaling is something that is really good, and that's why I love Plod, because it has mind maps, because I like people, places. Wait, sister, have you had that game. I forgot what the game was like. Oh my god, you're like name, place, thing. Have you had that done that? The name, place, thing?
It's not ringing a bell with me.
Really? Okay, so the game goes like this. I think I'm gonna do this on our Hounds networking. Oh, Mike is here. Okay. So basically it's like, guys, go ahead and get a list, like a piece of paper and a pen, label the top: name, place, thing, and then I forgot what it was, the other one. I think it's just name, place, thing for now. And then I say, okay, name something that starts with letter A. And you would give me anything, name, and then a place that starts with a thing starts with A. Whoever comes up first wins the game, right? And what we do is we actually count like 15, and then we just call out like, okay, give me what you have. And then after that, then we go again 15 times, and then people win something. Maybe we'll ask Mike for Amazon gift cards for the house. Sounds like I came in the right time, right? We were talking about name, place, thing. I think bacon flavored perfume would be an instant bet. Oh my god, you're so. Oh, Mike, I was just talking to Susanna and Danielle the other day. So Bella and I were driving through Sonoma County, and that's where all the winery, like all the rich people's winery, and I'm in the middle of this like water on the left side, water on the right side, and it's so beautiful. Like I wish I had my drone literally following me. It was so beautiful, like on TV, that you see like so dramatic. As soon as we passed the water, Bella looked to the right, and there's an outhouse, like a tiny little outhouse, okay? And in the middle, okay, of nowhere, in a field with a white porcelain toilet. And the first thing I saw was, did Mike have tornado and his toilet came here? And then Bella was like, what? What do you mean? I was like, Mike has an outhouse. So maybe that tornado, and then like the tornado brought it to California somehow. Like, I don't know how that works. Because he hates California, so he can't take back his toilet. Oh my god, it was funny. And I felt like it's a joke that they have in there, but it was a white porcelain toilet. It was super white. It wasn't like, rain on, like this guy. It was white. Like you could probably walk there, but there's no door. Like if you sit on there, everyone could see you because there's no door. Oh, the things that I come up with. It is hilarious.
There he
Michael,
is.
yes, and if you look carefully, there was a hot water heater nearby.
So does that mean he's missing his outhouse and water heater?
Uh, I guess so. It's in California. He hates California. That's hilarious as frick. But yeah. And so also people that are consistent in our life, we are grateful for. What's really funny is when I'm going through things, Susanna somehow is going through things, and Danielle is going through things, and Mike is going through things, and Shanda's going. I'm like, okay, what is happening here? Can we just continue the positivity wave rather than the negativity wave? I also was looking on Instagram of this Shaolin, and this Shaolin was saying that there are people who have so much energy that even when they look at you, they just feel disgusted by you without you knowing it. I'm going through things. Oh, Susanna somehow is going through things. LinkedIn is repeating what I'm saying. But I don't understand why some people are negative, right? And this is why I think having a grateful journal or a grateful anthology actually brings in. Now, let's switch up a little bit, sister, before we go to the end here. I wanted to talk more into the process of writing because I was talking to Paul. Mike was sending me to Paul, and he has a book, and I think his book is pretty interesting because he had two characters within it, maybe even three. He had a character of a teenager, like he's telling a story, but then he switched to his own voice. And I think another third voice is like almost like the somebody who's watching and then the narrator. And I told him, okay, it's good because my ADHD brain can get it of what you're trying to see. And I've been writing a while so I can see. But the problem is the book is not for you. The book is for somebody else to learn about you, right? So the way he wrote it is actually more of a lyrics. I've seen because I write lyrics too, so I can see. And he's like, hey, that's funny that you said that because I write music. Maybe you're right. I am writing it like a lyrics. I'm like, yeah, you're writing it like a lyrics. But there were so many subtitles on everything that happens in his life. So it's more like just venting out in paper, but he had chapters. So I said, the editing definitely is there, but make sure that your editor doesn't change your um,
Voice.
position. Yeah. My suggestion for those people who write like that is to, and I love his book cover, um, is to make sure that you define who the characters are. Because I ask you this because you'll have your own solo books, right? Like Armor of God, to actually go there. Like, okay, so how are we going to take that into making sure that the people who's going to read your chapter understand who's talking? How do you do that? Do you put it on the very beginning as a character or what?
So it's going to, for me, it's going to depend on which point of view I want to use. Armor of God is all third person. So you basically have that narrator telling the story, walking the reader to see what they see. Unlike one of my military sci-fi series, that it's all first person. So the main character is doing all the talking, and it's coming from their perspective. Everything is their perspective, which means you're not getting on a first person narrative. You're not really getting a lot of flipping around. You're not seeing all these different scenes. You're kind of have that one scene, and you're with them through everything. Is how I put that. But with Armor of God, it's when you have that looking down third person view, then you can tell the story, and you can go to different points and give enough new things that build on the main story without detracting from it, if that makes sense. So when I'm writing, I'll have the main story, and for me, it's like I let the story write itself. So sometimes I don't even know what I wrote until I go back and read it, because it just, the story was doing itself. But the majority of the time is with the main character and what's going on, and then having the offshoot discussions like you'll see in a lot of the TV shows and movies, where you had the main character, but then you have side conversations between people, or you have different battles going on that pertain to the main story but go in different directions.
Yeah, I feel like having Paulette write with us with her
Poetry?
yeah, but it could actually be a lyrics to a song too, because I could see that. Um, because there's stanzas, right? When there's stanzas, I do a lot. Like I when I was younger, I do Shakespeare. I love writing sonnet poetry. Um, I think it's just really nice love language. But anyway, and I love that it's in Latin. Oh, I'm in love with that. I was like, oh man, bring me to my grandmother. Um, but I think editing, it's my brain was going through yesterday. I was like editing something that is not a poetry, but a portion of a mini portion of the life that's going through. It's very because my brain is very structured, so the structure was all over the place, right?
Right.
And so that is a neurodivergent brain. But what if it's a neurotypical brain that you're dealing with? Maybe it works for them. So that's another thing about editing that I was trying to think. Like, if I give like suggestions to change, the process of how this thing, because it makes sense to me and what our audience have been, but maybe most of our audience are also ADHD people, whether they're diagnosed or undiagnosed, so it makes sense to all of our people. But what about the rest of the world who's not? Because we're not the majority, we're the minority when it comes to neurodiversity and neurodivergent brains. So now what? Right? So there's but if you look at the authors and the bestsellers and the New York, even I know they buy their book to 60 grand because I already got offered that. But even then, the structure of their book, there's always a story, but the main character is named at the very beginning. So that
Mhm.
when you're in the middle of a chapter and you forgot who Lewis was, you're like, who the heck was Lewis again? And you can go back to the first chapter, or at least the beginning of the first chapter, or before a prelude to the first chapter saying Lewis is what. So I don't know. I don't know how like that works. Another thing I want to talk about is hi Shonda. Another thing that I want to talk about is making sure that when you're writing your book and you're publishing it, that the publisher, I think here's another thing that I'm surprised that people don't know, sister, is that everybody's like, go to Amazon, go to Amazon, go to Amazon. I'm like, do you guys research enough that Amazon is not the world?
Yeah, it's not the world. It's the cheapest way to go, but you're also limited on where all you get to go.
Yeah, it's only 13, maximum 15 countries, people. There's over 140 or 150 countries in the world. Like what? Oh yeah, yeah. Lewis, who am I anyway? You are Lewis Stickley. Like, hello? You're amazing, right? You are amazing. And you sometimes doubt who you are because maybe you have so many passion. And sometimes when you have so many passion going for you, you lose one that you can gravitate to. Lewis, you're an amazing person. Don't you ever question who you are. Okay, you've been supporting us, both Susanna, myself, and the hounds, and you do you, right? You show up whenever you're needed. But the one thing that I want to tell you is that you put a smile on my face when I see your name consistently here. So
Yeah.
my suggestion to you is focus on your passion. Don't focus on what you do. Most people are like, "Well, what do you do?" Well, focus on that. What if you hate what you do? What? You're not what you do. You're not that person, right? You could be. And sometimes my daughter says, "Mom, you're not your what is it? You're not your work or something like that." And I'm like, "You're right, but I love education. And I always will learn. I love being a student, and we are all student in life, and we are all teachers in life at the same time, right? And I think you need a very good core character so that when you teach, when you speak, when you do, everything comes from your core of kindness and giving. I think when people are selfish and they make excuses for their behavior towards other people because their core is not there yet. I really refuse people, sometimes even though I joke around about it, I really refuse to know that people are born evil. Like, no, we probably have a little devil in us. I can say that. I could actually be fastidious too, and I can be like, "Arr," but at the same time, like, we are all born, we can't change our how we were born or who we were born with, but we can change the way we think. You just have to be intentional, right? What are your thoughts on that, sister?
It does have to be intentional, and for a lot of us, it's our surroundings. Growing up is what put us on whatever path we end up on, for good or bad, until we get to a point. I mean, I know there's some people that they've gone down the bad path, and then something happened, and they were able to get off of it. But in this world, it's so much of who we are gets almost locked in a way. I don't want to say locked in because you can change, but it gets set in a way during childhood.
Yeah. Childhood, I'm telling you, the first 10 years of your lives is the one that drives the rest of your life. That's
Mhm.
why your parent, and sometimes too, when you have a child, you're like, wow, this child's beautiful, this, and then they grow up and they are so different. And you're like, what the heck happened? Where did I go wrong? Like, what? And then I have to also forgive myself that, hey, you're human. You tried your best. You have good intentions. And sometimes it just doesn't work for the best way, but you don't stop loving people, especially your children, just because they're different or they're not the way you want them to be, right? Because that's the control thing coming in again. You want to control people. You can't control people. You can barely control yourself, let alone control other people, right? So you just kind of ride this journey and let go of expectations, because when you expect, you will get let down. And the more you get let down, the more you get angry. For what though? Why are you getting angry? Right? You can't control people. And now here you are, you can't control yourself because you're too much anger inside you. Only
Mm.
one I saw change. It was Lady Gaga. Mike, you're so no, Bruno Mars has changed. Oh my god, just changed a lot. Great conversation. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming in, right? I appreciate you. But we wanted to end this conversation with, because we're talking about a grateful heart. What does it look like to you? So I want to ask all of you who's still here, what does a grateful heart look to you? Sister, what about you?
A grateful heart, I see it as focused more on seeing the things that made a positive difference in life, opened opportunities, um, created created positive days, or or those who make life better, not worse. And to me, that's where the gratitude lies. And that last piece, that was the fundamental basis of what started this theme for this book, was gratitude, a person and a thing and an event, and how without the person, the event wouldn't happen.
Tiny Tim. Mike is hilarious. To me, a grateful heart means a way of seeing, not just something that you feel, right? It's a posture of the soul that chooses to look for value even when life is messy, uncertain, and hard. It's not about toxic positivity, there is such a thing, or pretending everything is fine. It's about choosing to notice the good that exists alongside the hard, right?
Mhm.
A grateful heart recognizes the ordinary as sacred, like warmth of a sunlight and laugh of a friend, a moment of peace in a hectic day where I don't hear bulldogs screaming, pounding, growling, snoring. Okay, like, but I also miss it, by the way, when I don't hear it. Remembers what you've become instead of only what you're still trying to fix. How have you become? Right? Creates a space for joy, even when there are things left unresolved. There's so many things in our life that let's left unresolved, but let's create joys anyway. Space for that joy. Humbles the ego. Hello? Reminding us that we are not self made sometimes. We've been shaped, supported, and carried by others, seen and unseen, and then shifts that narrative a little bit from what's missing for to actually saying what's meaningful. Because if we're looking for what's missing, we're always going to find what's missing. That's why intention is everything. And what we're trying to do is create a movement, really. Every book that we have, we try to create a movement, like Rebel with a Cause, questioning the status quo, right? My heart goes out to the Filipino families and the non-Filipino families, everybody who actually died. Their whole family died in Canada when they had a Filipino festival just recently in Lapu-Lapu, and they're saying that the guy who did it lost his mother, and he has mental issues and things like that. Don't tell me that nobody knew about it, but we neglect it because we shun people who don't look like us, who's not normal, quote unquote, right? And if they're already suffering, shouldn't you try to help? Sometimes it's hard to help others, but because they're on their way already and they're set their ways, they're angry, they're mad, they're sad, they're all of that in one ball. It's really hard to help, and at the same time it's like, okay, watch out for those people, but how are you going to watch out for those people? Nobody knew he's going to do that, but maybe he panicked because he hit a car first before he drove through the whole people, right? Maybe he panicked. Sometimes, like, even when you're older, you panic because your things are, instead of like stopping, maybe he hit the gas. Who knows? Right at that moment he's probably not in his right mind. It's not an excuse, but it's like we have to really start questioning ourselves of, can we have a moment of peace where there's no judgment? Guys, I'm messy right now. I have ADHD. I'm going through grief. I don't know what the heck I'm doing anymore sometimes. I want to quit doing this actually. I told Susanna and Danielle, I'm like, you know what? I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore. And I've gone through this maybe 4 times now, maybe even 6 since the beginning of doing it. It's because I'm tired of negative people. Like, lay off, right? I'm tired of negative spaces. Like, I'm already going to, like, if you give me hot water and hot water and hot water and not cool it down, and I stick my finger in it, I'll get burned. That's how I'm feeling, right? But at the same time, I know I can do more for the community, but the community is not there to see what it's good. It's only seeing what nitpicking looks like. But having that gratefulness, having a grateful heart, having a grateful friend helps, really, in a long run, and you need that, every single one of you.
Yep.
I'm so grateful, the ones who are watching this after the fact, I'm so grateful for you for taking the time. Build your legacy, because that's all you really got. All of this money that you have, all of these things, you're not going to bring it. The only thing that you have is your reputation, your kindness, and how much you give to your community. And you're like, CJ, why? Why do you do that? I can't answer that for you, but what I can answer for me is that it makes me happy when I give. That's it. What about you, sister? Why do you give back to the community?
I give I give back because part of it is I don't want people to go through some of the stuff that I've gone through. And if I can find a way to help somebody to not go through, to not feel like they have to do and be what other people are telling them, when they know in their heart that's not who they are, that there's so much more than what others are trying to limit them to. I'm tired of seeing people get limited. I'm tired of seeing people be looked down on for what may just be a sliver of who they are, and not taking the time to see a person for who they really are. So gratitude is that's what I want to get in front of. That's why I want to be here, get in front of on the big stages, talk about it, so people can stop letting others tell them what to do, run their life. If that's what they want, that's fine. But I have a feeling most people, that's not what they want. And I want to see more gratitude, more forgiveness, and more conversations, honest conversations, instead of superficial and everybody walking around with a mask because they don't feel safe.
Psychological safety.
That's a
Well, we
lot.
are ending. Thank you guys so much for being here. I do want to invite you guys, if you resonated with what we're talking about, being grateful is attitude of gratitude. Just do a hashtag attitude of gratitude, because that is necessary. It's very necessary for what we're going through right now, in our country, in our world, in our communities, and within us. So hopefully you guys have joy today, have peaceful, smile to others. Those are free, and be kind. All right. Have a beautiful day, guys. Level up. Bye, everybody. See ya.